I don't like how they're all out of whack, but it'll look more factory that way, so that's a plus. Welcome to the 15th episode of the Chambler build series. A lot of forming panels. I made a custom buck to go ahead and form some sheet metal, which worked out pretty well, thankfully. Lots of welding, lots of other stuff in here. A little bit of pattern making with CAD again. That's going to be fairly consistent on and off through this whole series, at least for the next couple episodes. So I have a lot of stuff to put in here, and it's going to get more creative and more interesting as we go. With that said, I got to get back to welding, so let's get to it. Let's get to slicing. I just made a rotary engine, or a Dorito. One panel ready to be cleaned and formed. Curly fries. I laid the template back on it because I need to go ahead and mark where I'm going to have to bend it. I want to mark it so that I can see it from both sides because I'm going to have to bend it from both directions. And I need new Sharpies. Like I said, I'm marking on both sides because I'm going to bend the material like this, and then I'm going to bend the material back up. Easier way to illustrate is I'm taking this flat piece, I'm bending it this way, then once I've got this bend, I'm going to have to bend it straight back up again. I was racking my brain last night trying to figure out how I'm going to bend this because it's just a little too big for my box brake. I've only got about a 12-inch throw in it, so it's just a bit too big, as you can see. But I have come up with a harebrained scheme. I do have these two pieces of 3-inch tubing I'm going to use for the cross brace of the rear frame and the floor supports. I think I'm going to use these to bend that plate. This is either going to be a glorious success or a glorious failure, but it's what I could come up with the tools I have on hand. I really need a fab table. The outside clamps are holding the longer piece of tubing to the 4x4. The second set of clamps are holding the metal to the actual 4x4 itself to hopefully prevent it from moving when I start to pound it over. The third set of clamps are pinching the sheet metal in between the two pieces of tubing. It should also help prevent it from moving. I've got it clamped in space. Hopefully this edge on the tubing will actually give me the nice rolled edge I need. I can use this hunk from the rocker as a gauge. So without further ado, I'm going to get to bending it. There goes nothing. Nowhere near there yet. Gotta keep checking it. That is pretty close, actually. Just gonna go a hair more because I can always bounce it back without having this goofy rig. I think that's gonna be good. Let's pull it out of the form. It's gotta be a pain. That came out a lot better than I expected it would. The roll is pretty darn close. I'm going to have to flatten this out a bit anyway, but then I'm going to have to roll it, so it's going to take a little bit of different form. I'm happy that worked. It had a lot of opportunity for failure in it. 43.8. 32. 44. 45. We're within about a degree, or a point of a degree. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it. So we got it formed, but it's way too big. So now I'm gonna use that template to mark it out from the inside, and we'll start shrinking it down to fit. Likely gonna have to trim some of this up. I wanna keep this edge. I do not want to get rid of this, which I said in the early part of the video, or the previous video, depending on how this edit goes. I went ahead and laid the template on the inside of this piece and used the magnets to position it. I'm going to go ahead and trace it. I'm going to leave a little extra material on either side because I don't doubt the bend is going to have to be adjusted. It might be a little hard to see the blue lines on camera, but that's what our end product should be. I'm gonna leave everything a little heavy just to make sure I have the space. I'm also gonna leave it long, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the marker to push it back that way. I have a few more adjustments to make on this edge, and I have to trim this top down now that I've got it kind of in place, but this panel's fitting fantastic. I've got to adjust this edge back here where it meets the original rocker, and I've got to trim this leg down because it's way too tall, but I wanted to get everything fit before I started adjusting this. I had to take a little more material out than I expected out of the rocker, but this is going to be the best way for me to fit this. Got this fitting up nicely. So I'm going to mark where I need to trim it for the pinch welds, and I will get the trimming. Go ahead and punch the plug welds. Yahtzee. Ooh, that wasn't good. Go ahead and throw this in position and check this front edge before I pop anything in the front. Looks like it worked out fine, so punch. I don't like how they're all out of whack, but it'll look more factory that way, so that's a plus. Got all the other sections punched, ready to go. I'm not going to trim any of this until I get it in, but I am going to go ahead and punch some holes in this area. Close enough, I guess. Not close enough? No, that'll do. That, now plug that one up. I might have to just drill a hole here. This should be enough. I've got other holes coming into this side, but I want this weakened flange to be up against the new material. I'm going to clean this off now. These pads are not very good. I'll get the rest of this with the stone. Everything's ready, well, other than me, realistically. I got the Arizona spot weld cleaned off of the weld through primer. I've heard that gives you a little bit better adhesion. Give it a shot. I do need to clean this off, do that before I start welding. Nothing left to it but to do it. I went ahead and hit what I had welded with the grinder, just to figure out where I'm at. Got a couple spots I'm gonna have to touch up. I'm gonna have to find a way to pound this edge in so that it's tighter, so I actually get penetration, so it's not just a big open hole where no weld goes through. Hopefully by the time I'm done, my welds won't look like crap. By the time I'm done with the car, not by the time I'm done with this. Let's get the welding this front piece on. Now comes the super fun part. I'm going to try to bend this and get it into forming on here, because I'm not bending this piece down, I'm bending this piece up. If it doesn't work, I'll build a piece to cover it. Well, that went way too easy. Oh boy. Well, the trimming process is going well so far. I'm not quite sure how far I'm going to take this. I might actually have to build a cover plate and strengthen it because there's so much of this is damaged, at least on these edges. I'm just not sure. Not sure what to do yet. I think it's time to admit I'm just chasing my tail trying to fix so many of these rusted panels. I'm just going to have to replace a lot of stuff and make it stronger because I don't want this to hurt me or anybody in the car. So I'm going to have to regroup, find a couple pieces that I can fix now, keep moving forward, come back to some of this stuff that is a mess, but I need to tie it into other things that are a mess, and hopefully I have a little bit better game plan. But I know what I need to replace on the rockers. Hopefully I can keep going forward in that direction. That's where I'm heading. This is not how I wanted this to go, but I can't hide things. I'm not willing to hurt myself or anybody else for this car. So more work, more content for you guys. I guess that's the way to look at it. So I gotta get back to it. As part of figuring out what I'm gonna do next with the sheet metal and the planning is cleaning my garage up. It has been way too long. Cleaned everything off there, gonna blow that out. Cleaned out the inside of the car, which you might not be able to see, but it's clean. And now it's time to get to these floors. It's been way too nasty in here for way too long. A cluttered environment makes a cluttered mind. It sounds cliche, but it does work. Now let's get back to building some cool stuff. Ooh, look, I got mask face. Thanks for watching the 15th episode of the Chambler build series. Next videos are going to be a ton of fabrication like this one was. Lots of fun stuff, some weird stuff, some fails, a lot of successes thankfully. Sykeston and No Name Nationals is not that far away, and I've got to get this thing done long before that. So lots more body work, then we'll start getting into the engine, suspension, and interior, and there's a ton of stuff, some custom stuff along the way. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you stick around. Let me know what you want to see. If there's more details you want to see, less details you want to see, I'm always here for you. So I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.